think about the end user, think about how your product helps and where it fits.
You're listening to the Affiliate Marketing Podcast brought to you by affiliatemedia.com, the chapter and verse of everything you need to know about running a successful affiliate program for your business. Now, here's your award-winning affiliate and performance marketing host, an industry veteran, your affiliate marketing guide, and the founder of Affiverse, Leanne Johnston.
Think you know what drives the finance affiliate space? Today, we're diving into this trillion-dollar sector with Stephen Davis, head of performance at Finder.com. In an industry where compliance comes first and one wrong move could mean a multi-million-pound fine, Stephen reveals why financial partnerships play by different rules. You'll discover how market conditions constantly reshape which products will thrive, and why last year's interest rate shifts created massive acquisition opportunities. If you're wondering why your pitch emails aren't getting traction with financial publishers, Stephen shares what actually matters when approaching sites like Finder.com. From extensive work required to onboard financial advertisers to the surprising truth about what publishers really care about, this conversation delivers practical insights for veterans and newcomers alike. So stick around and learn why car insurance might be the most underappreciated powerhouse in affiliate marketing, and how focusing on the end user unlocks success in this heavily regulated but immensely profitable space. Welcome to this week's Affiliate Marketing Podcast, a show for affiliates and affiliate managers who want to dive a little bit deeper into everything that is involved in affiliate marketing. I'm your host, Leanne Johnston, and today I'm super excited because I've got Stephen Davis from Finder.com joining me this week, and we're going to talk all about finance affiliate programs and what affiliate managers working in the finance industry should know about working with publishers like him. So Stephen, thank you so much for being on this podcast with me today. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you landed up at Finder.com and eventually on this podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Great. Thanks for having me. Really happy to be here. How did I end up at Finder? Well, it's all linked to Australia. So I worked for a lead gen business in Bath straight out of uni. And I sort of had that, do I go to London or do I do something a bit crazier? So yeah, I hopped down under, joined the lead gen business down there with a bunch of Brits. Mm-hmm. So I sort of kept my UK connection. And yeah, the business was thriving, was growing. I made a decision to come back to the UK. So we actually brought that business back to the UK. But that market in Sydney is so small. Like, I feel like you knew everybody. You know, it's one of those things, probably like London sort of 20 years ago in the affiliate marketing space where you knew everybody. A bit harder today, but you knew everybody. So we came back to launch that business in the UK. That business exited, I think, 6 years ago now, 6.5 years ago. And then I got poached over to Finder, which is an Australian business, by John, who was my CEO at Cohort before, and Finder. So yeah, all pretty linked to Sydney and my time down there. And yeah, I mean, when I came in 6 years ago to Finder, it was my first sort of real big push into finance. So I had done some life insurance lead gen before that. It was predominantly lead gen. But yeah, this is like my first foray into like a proper finance world and the fun that comes with all of that.
And we're going to talk about that today. So tell us a little bit about what you do at Finder, because I think, you know, when affiliate managers think, oh, you know, Leanne's going to interview another publisher or another affiliate, they don't actually understand how many different types of roles fit into that publisher title. So tell me a little bit about what you specifically do and what you manage at Finder.com.
Yeah, it's a really good question and it moves quite a lot. So my job title is head of performance, but I mean, really it's head of revenue or commercial lead in the UK. And my job is to find like the next thing that's going to make us money. All of the big clients as well. So we always try and, you know, double up as a team to make sure we go to meetings, the important meetings, we understand everything that's going on. So I dip in there. But generally my team, Tom and Devinder, manage the website and the clients and all that side. And I'm very much now, okay, how do we keep adding value to these advertisers? Can we build products that sort of delight our clients with what we can do? So yeah, my role is a bit more exploratory now than it probably was a few years ago. A few years ago, it was about building up the advertisers. You know, when I joined, we probably had 50% of the advertisers we wanted. You know, the top guys were really important, you know, getting the big high street banks onto the website. Now most of them are on board, so that's sort of less of a challenge. And so now my job is to think about ways to work more efficiently, to find new media formats, to find new exciting things to take to our client base, because we've got such an amazing client base that a lot of people would sort of envy in terms of looking at their finance coverage. So sometimes it's like, okay, well, we're not going to go out and sell to 50 new clients. If I can actually find a product that fits within our wheelhouse and is, really effective, then I think our clients are really happy to listen to that.
It is very broad. And I think that's why I asked the question, because a lot of affiliate managers listening to this, they go, oh yeah, it's an affiliate. Great. I know how to work with an affiliate. But there's a lot of different complex roles that are performed in an affiliate business. And I'm slowly starting to kind of like bring bigger publishers onto the podcast to actually talk about the complexities of how you should be relationship managing with them and who you should be talking to and building those relationships with. So let's start off about the state of affiliate marketing in the finance industry, because if you're not in finance, this is also going to be an educational show for you. Where are we right now? Like, are we in a recession? Are we looking at, opportunities? Is this a good time to become an affiliate in finance? Where's the state of the nation?
Yeah, good question. I saw before, like in a recession, actually finance is one of the niches that's the least affected.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say it's recession proof, because we've really benefited. I think about recession, I think about all the conditions we've been in the 6 years that I've been a Finder, and the shape of the business has constantly changed. So like pre-COVID, our biggest product set was credit cards and loans. Post-COVID, they barely exist. Interest rates flew up. The volume of consumers taking those products disappeared. So I would say finance just keeps mutating and changing. And if we were talking about a specific product and recession, I might be like, it's going to have quite a lean area. But when one product falls, another product grows. So it's what's really interesting about it, sort of thinking about it as a living organism. It just keeps changing and keeps mutating. And the products that we work on, we follow the demand really of the users. A lot of the time we're trying to understand what the behavior of the user is going to be based on those market conditions. So like, interest rates are up. Suddenly people are getting less loans because they're super expensive, fewer credit cards, but they're saving more, or they might be looking at investments and things like that. So it's like putting the focus onto what's coming next, and sometimes having to sort of predict the next shift in consumer behavior. So yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily a downturn, I would say, but I have seen sort of, behavior constantly change and constantly, we don't see many partners just coming in with big money and just throwing it everywhere. That's a shame. But, we saw that a few years ago during COVID and after COVID, when finance was a little bit in equity. Cash was a bit easier to get hold of for companies. So now it's a little bit leaner in terms of, startups doing aggressive things in the UK market. But yeah, it's sort of an interesting challenge. I think that's cyclical as well. When interest rate comes down, it'll be easier for fintechs and sort of new businesses to come into the space again.
So when you're looking at brands to onboard, because that's always an issue, like if you've got a product and you're an affiliate manager and you want to work with a publisher like Finder, what's the pitch process? Like, what should people really be getting right? Like, don't come to you right now with, loans because interest rates aren't good. Like, that's not the time or the place. Like, how can you educate affiliate managers listening to this who really want to work with you to kind of like nail their sales message? Because I think that's sometimes always the hardest part, is how do I get my product into this publisher's tech stack?
Yeah, a good question. I think the question I would always ask first, because you go to the Finder's homepage, you probably go to a lot of finance aggregator homepages, and they've got everything. And so you might think, okay, it's a no-brainer. I'll just reach out to them and I'm on board them. But I think the reality is some products are a focus and some products aren't. Yeah. So my question would be, I would always ask an aggregator like myself, we have this product. Are you focusing on it? And then two, it's like how your product helps the space or helps the end user. So I would want a compelling reason to put an extra advertiser on the website. We've got the best rates. You'll find that you'll actually miss out if you don't have the best rates, because you won't have the best rates for the end user in the market, all these amazing features and things like that. So I'd focus on, what the real benefit to the end user is. And that's very much a Finder thought process. It's really, are we helping our users by adding you to the website?
It's very interesting you should say that, because most affiliate managers are crafting their outreach emails to recruit affiliates into their program, talking about what the benefits are for the affiliate. And the affiliate actually doesn't really care about that until after they're sold on the product. So it's a really good point that you've raised there, is think about what the end user gets from your product or service and make the affiliate excited about that first.
Well, I think that aggregators are a slightly different animal sometimes because we've got a stream of users who come into the website. So that demand is there.
Yeah.
So our intensive optimization is like, where do I send that user for the optimum experience where they're most likely to convert into a customer with the best products? So I feel like, it's a slightly different approach. And for me, then it's like, okay, this is interesting. We'll talk commercials. We'll talk about all of that sort of stuff as a secondary. That's also really important. But we've got these users. So I always think about something different. And users don't want 10 providers who look exactly the same.
Yeah.
They don't want to do a comparison with unlimited providers. I think, the sweet spot number is somewhere between like 3 and 7.
Okay.
Realistically of options people would like. We often give more, but I mean, realistically, they engage with the top 4 or 5 providers. So like adding number of providers isn't great, but adding a provider who does something or they're completely different or has a different target audience or different messaging or a really good offer, that actually could have an impact and materially change the performance of the website and then convert more users.
I mean, how many clients how many brands are you actually working with across your business right now? Because let's just keep it real. Like, affiliate managers are very much like, I'm only thinking about me. I'm only thinking about my product, my brand, my service, my offer. But when you're approaching, quite a big publisher or publisher team, like, how do you position that and break through that noise? Like, how am I going to get to be the best client that you work with versus however many more you're working with?
Yeah, good question. And I think the overall number is less important than the product number. So the overall for Finder will be something like 200 plus advertisers. But then if you came to me, it's like, how many credit card providers are you working with? Or how many money transfer providers are you working with? It's not a numbers game. If I add another brand onto my website and pages, I don't make 10% more.
No.
It just redistributes the activity of the user. So sometimes we want to make sure that good product, good conversion flow, good tracking. We set quite a high bar now to onboarding providers.
What is that bar? Tell us.
I think brand. So if you're not a brand, what are you going to do to cut through? How are you going to cut through and attract users? We've onboarded our brand recently, and we just said, we think you've got a cool product, but you don't have any brand presence in the UK. If we put you in our tables, no one's going to engage with you because the other providers do have brand presence.
Yeah.
So you might get a few clicks from users, but not enough to cut through. So they launch an offer so they could compete at the top until they build their brand. And I think that's just a natural thing. So brand, offer, tracking and data is really important to us. We're really on our numbers. We really love data coming back into our system. We want to understand how the user behaves on Finder, how the user behaves on the client's website. And if we don't get that back, we can't build a better business. I mean, when I first joined Finder, we were doing a lot of guessing. It's so surprising when you find out how much you get wrong. Like, the logic made sense, the logic was great. But the reality is the data just tells a different story. So brands, offer, reporting, then commercials is part of that as well. So they've got to tick a lot of boxes in a lot of areas to get on board. There's some caveats to that, like if we're building a new project, like we might go, okay, well, we want to launch a new savings niche and we're going to onboard 50 providers, and we might not put the bar so high. But like in established areas, it's making sure if I put the investment, because there's lots of things that go on in the background. If I put the investment on onboarding someone, I make sure they're actually going to add value, and then also add value to the advertiser. We have said no because we've got a low volume in that specific niche. Then we don't want to waste their time as well. So I think, it working both ways. Sometimes we just say that it's low volume. If I onboard you, you're not allowed to email me asking where the volume is.
Yeah, I've had those conversations with publishers before, and I'm sure other people listening to this have too. So what are all the things that go on in the background when you have to onboard a client? Because I think that's another area that affiliate managers aren't really aware of. If they've never worked publisher side or on a website itself, they don't really understand the workflow process that needs to happen. So talk us through, onboarding a client. What are all the things that your team has to do in order to make that happen? It's not just, here's your link from impact.com or wherever, PartnerStack, whatever it is that you're doing, and then we skip off into the sunset and start sending you traffic. It doesn't work that way. Can you break it down?
Yeah, I think step one is sort of finance. So we get set up in the finance system. The most important thing is that we're going to actually get paid. So we get set up in the finance system. Step two is then getting the tracking links. We get a link so we can track, and that can go into the advertiser that we set up in our system.
And do you stress test the tracking as well? Do you go do test purchases and stuff with the clients before you onboard them?
Not enough, in my opinion, but if it's a big opportunity, yes. So if it's going to go, it just depends where it's going to go onto the website. So if it's a volume and it's a revenue opportunity, we'll go in, we'll give feedback on landing pages, we'll check everything. There's lots of faux pas around app tracking at the moment that we have to keep on top of. People are using QR codes from desktop. But so we have to do that, I'd say, on the bigger ones. On some of the smaller ones, we would probably just on board and work it out as we go. But on the ones where we're going to send tens of thousands of pounds worth of click value, we don't want to do that without sort of understanding what's going to go on. So tracking, I feel it gets funner every year, harder, funner today. So that's something else. And then the last one is actually the data and the information that goes on the website. So that's as big as probably all the others combined, is making sure it goes into the website correctly, the rates, everything are being pulled, the provider's happy with the information that's being displayed, it's compliant content. I know we've got some things to discuss around compliance, and a lot of that, some providers want to sign everything off. Yeah. And with that in mind, to Finder is probably on the rarity where it's authorized by the FCA in their own right. So we have the permission to sign off these ads, but still we have to go through that process with lots of providers. So still it's just internal process on brand side, but that can be really heavy, even though that we technically could do it about it. But I think lots of people are just looking for security on that side. So there's lots to go to onboarding before you've even made a pound.
Okay, so let's talk about compliance and regulation, because you brought it up. How are regulators impacting finance affiliate marketing? So what are some of the rules and regulations that you have to stick to, that affiliate managers that are in the finance industry, they can just understand why you are so strict? I mean, obviously you've said you are FCA approved to have a look at these things, but what are the impacts and the fallouts if you don't get it right? How strictly regulated is the finance industry?
It's very strict in terms of, misleading customers. There are hefty fines. I think I did a talk at PI Live last year, and I put up a fine that Starling Bank got, and I think it was something, don't quote me on this, something like £30 million, significant fine for not doing their know your customer. So that was relaxed, so people were taking advantage of it, and bad agents were getting through. So that has real teeth. I sort of looked at examples in the advertising space, and I think I used the example of, I think Stephen Bartlett at the time had got his wrist slapped for promoting Huel and not saying it was an investor. And I was like, that's slightly misleading, but there's absolutely there's no financial fine or anything there, just a little slap on the wrist and on you go. So the fines could be quite heavy. I actually think the discussion isn't necessarily about the regulation. It's about the compliance managers.
Yes.
So one thing about the FCA regulations around a lot of affiliate marketing is quite grey. There's still quite a lot of grey there. So there's still a lot of opinion, and so, the commercially savvy might go into the grey a bit more, whereas the, more risk averse will go into the sort of black and whites, making sure it's not. So the interpretation of the regulation still changes per provider. So we don't have a standard compliance process with every client, and it differs greatly. I would say greatly, and depending on the product as well, differs massively per product. And so that's part of the fun, is that we've just got to be able to ingest what our providers are saying and requesting, and make sure we understand it and are comfortable with it, and then giving an appropriate response. But if we said yes to everything, then the website would go different directions all the time. So it's actually having an understanding of the regulation, having an opinion that we can share, and also taking their feedback on board, because sometimes it's really interesting feedback that we've not got before. There's been a change. So it's a lot of work. It's the heavy one in finance. Certainly in credit cards, loans, banking, it's sort of the biggest area. It's a bit lighter in things like money transfers, investing, a few other areas. So it does depend on the product. And you can see that as well, but you just go to any website and look at the compliance wording and look at the structure, and then if you go to multiple of the same product websites, you'll see form. You can probably see what's required and what's not. yeah, so that's compliance is a large chunk of our lives, and when we do our Finance Affiliate Club events, we can't not talk about finance. It's literally the bread and butter of what we do. But I think, I remember the first event we had, it was, people were like, oh, it's so good to have an event where we talk about compliance for half an hour, because it's sort of like cathartic to know that I'm not the only one who has to deal with this. And my peers are also having the same challenges and dealing with the same things. So, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about these finance club events. I have yet to be at one. Well, I've yet to be in the same country when you're running one. Yeah. I'm quite excited about a little smaller, and we were talking about this before we came on the podcast. Smaller events seem to give off more information because people are happier to share in a smaller group, and it's psychological, really. Can other affiliate managers come to the finance club events, or is it just for, your clients, or who's it for?
It's for everyone. I think we're free entry for publishers and for affiliate managers. Yes. So anybody actively working on the space is free entry. Yeah, I think my feedback going to affiliate events we started 2 years ago, so for about 4 years when I was at Finder, was that nobody talked about finance. Like, it sort of, and it was like a known thing.
We're cousin at the end of affiliate marketing of EM, and yet it's a massive industry.
It's absolutely huge, yeah. I sort of said this about the biggest misconception about finance, because I think people assume finance affiliates is small.
Yeah,
finance affiliates is bigger than the rest, but it doesn't live in the affiliate networks. It lives outside because it's so big.
Yeah, it's more kind of like lead gen, partnerships, affiliate, all kind of rolled into one. And we discovered that last year at our Elevate Summit. There was a lot of finance people that came to it because they were working in the lead gen space, and we were trying to bring lead gen and performance together in that event. So I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, it gets forgotten. So these events, all about bringing finance people together, and only finance, really. I think we wanted to create a space where we can talk about something like as boring as compliance and it be relevant and interesting. And I think, as I say about the events, it's a constant theme. So whatever we talk about, so the next event we're talking about AI, compliance. We talk about influencers, compliance. We talk about, we've had voucher codes and referral partners, compliance. Really, if I describe the finance affiliate industry, it's compliance first. Whereas, in other areas, go live, find out later. I'm sure it'll be fine. Compliance is, it's not as fun as other affiliate programs, because I think sometimes, and what's interesting for us going to other events is you can find out all these cool things people do when they move quickly. It's we've just done this crazy influencer thing or this, AI product, and it's interesting. And then we try and bring it back to our world. And sometimes it's too hard and sometimes it's not, and it is good to have a variety, but we've created these events because we wanted to make sure there's a space primarily for finance affiliates. And it's growing really well. This is the next event next week. I can't believe it's next week. We've got over 200 people registered. So
amazing.
We're up in the offices in the Times News building. So it feels like a proper event where it started in Rakton's offices a couple of years ago. It's just, it feels like it's just rolling, and we keep just falling forwards and landing on our feet.
I'm a big believer of build your tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So if your tribe is interested in the things that you're talking about, they'll come and they'll find you. Okay, so let's talk about emerging opportunities quickly, because we're sort of coming to the end of this podcast really quickly. What are some of the emerging opportunities for the finance industry that affiliate managers should be thinking about or leveraging?
Yeah, good question. I don't have too many specifics. I'd say the opportunities are within market conditions. As market conditions change, the opportunities arise. So I don't have the stat, and I read this article and I lost it, and I need to find it. Last year, the biggest acquisition tool for finance brands was the savings interest rate.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, it would have been pointless. You could have had the best rate and you'd have got customers, but it wouldn't have done anything. But last year, just because of the market conditions, interest rates were high. People were launching products where they're not making any money interest rate, but they were gaining tens of thousands of customers and billions of pounds in deposits. So it's thinking about those market conditions and how the things are constantly changing, and how you can come up with a proposition that helps the end user. And I think that's sort of how to unlock finance affiliates and the space, and constantly thinking about building good products and services.
Everything you've said on this podcast has been about the end user, and that's quite rare, because normally in other programs or other verticals, it's all about the message. It's not necessarily about helping the customer. And so I think that's quite interesting because you have to think like in reverse. You have to think about what does the customer want first and not necessarily what am I selling to the affiliate? So I love that. I want to talk just quickly because we've only got like 4 minutes left. I can't believe this has gone so quick, but I had some quick fire rounds for you, if you don't mind going through those questions. So the first one is biggest myth about finance affiliate marketing.
I said it earlier, it's a small part of the industry. It's absolutely huge and it's unrecognized. And I said you'll never see like car insurance at a big affiliate event. The car insurance is a single product, is the biggest single affiliate product in the country. So, and it's really hard to get into. The barrier to entry is massive, but those products you have to renew them every year. It's a non-optional product. I have to renew my car insurance every June. Yeah, and I want a better deal every year. And so it's that product that nobody really thinks about. And everybody has probably engaged with an aggregator or an intermediary and should do, because these platforms are here to save you money. And if you don't do that, you won't be securing the best deal every year with your insurer.
Yeah, go and double check Direct Line because they're not always the cheapest, even though they don't work with affiliates.
Well, they've changed. Yeah, they got bought. So that's all changed now. So you should be able to, I think you can see the aggregators now, but they sold. So that strategy over the long term didn't pay off. But online adoption's so high now that even if I got a quote from them, I like them, I'd still, you should take 2 quotes, right? And I think people are just getting a lot savvier.
Yeah, and you should be savvy with your money. One tool or resource that every finance affiliate or affiliate manager should look at.
I was going to say the Finance Affiliate Club event. I know I'm biased, but we're trying to build something for the industry. Yeah. So there's no restrictions on, other competitors of Finder come, and we're very comfortable with that. All the brands come, very comfortable with that. We're trying to create a resource, a networking tool. We're talking about how we do content post the event for the next event, which we haven't really done before. So we're trying to create more. So I think we're trying to create something that will get you into the industry really quickly, especially if you're coming into the space for the first time.
Great. One brand or affiliate partnership doing it right in finance.
eToro, who we won the best finance, the PMAs last year with.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, we've worked with eToro for 6 years, and it's just always felt like a partnership. We've had good times, we've had rough times, we've had big things go wrong, big things go right, and just having a partner that understands it. You have a sensible conversation, you always find a balanced approach. Sometimes it's more in Finder's favor, sometimes it's more in eToro's favor. We've always had a sensible discussion, and the mission has been quite joint, and I think, we look at what they do. They're very aggressive in the market, but it's really clean, it's really clear. Their acquisition funnels are good, their tracking is good.
Well, I know their affiliate team is good because I trained some of them. So okay. Very good brand to work with. If you had to start from scratch as a finance affiliate today, what's the first thing that you'd do?
Think about the end user. Think about how your product helps and where it fits.
Yeah.
I saw the other day, I saw a credit card journey that's going to go into a specific website. I was like, this doesn't fit. Where does the credit card fit into this customer experience? It's where Klarna's exploded and done so well. The product fits because it's right at the end of the journey. The only time you're ever going to think about it. Buy Now, Pay Later wouldn't exist as a standalone product. It exists because it's in that funnel. Yeah. So how can I help the customer? How can I add the most value? And where can I get the most engagement with that customer as well? Is another big one. We do like some work with credit building products. People who want to build their credit score. You only need it when you get rejected for credit. There's a product you don't wake up on a Tuesday morning and go, I should really do that. You only think about it then. So it's like, I need to be appearing on any journey where that happens. Otherwise, that's my whole opportunity lost. So think about that user experience, where your product fits and add value, and try and find publishers and people in the space who can help you connect with those users.
It's great advice. Okay, one last question, because I ask everybody this when they come on the podcast. What do you think the future of affiliate marketing looks like?
Really good question. It's sort of come under a bit of a hammering over the last 12 or so months. I suppose it just depends on the marketing landscape. What does the marketing landscape look like in the next few years? There's lots of lawsuits over in the US happening. Yeah. They happen now with sort of changing government and things like that. I don't know. But I think it always has a place. Hopefully, I'd like to see tracking come back. Actually showing the users how it adds value, and being tracked isn't always just such a scary thing. It creates these wonderful websites that have taken a bit of a battering. So I hope there's a change in our approach to data and our approach to compliant, transparent tracking, and then we can start to build, products again. I think we've gone back as an industry over the last 5 years. I'd love to be going forward again and building things that help consumers en masse and on scale.
Sounds good. All right, we're going to end it there. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast to talk about finance, which is often kind of left out in the cold, as you said, but now you're building an event around it. So if you want to find out more about the finance industry, or you're a publisher or affiliate working in the finance industry, go and have a look at Finance Affiliate Club. It looks like an amazing event. At some point, I hope I can attend it, but I hope it goes very well. And thank you so much for being on the Affiliate Marketing Podcast to open up the door behind what's happening in finance and just giving everybody a little bit of advice on how to actually get into Finder if that's something that they're looking to do. So thanks so much for being here, Stephen. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Leanne.
Get ready for the next issue of the Affiverse magazine. This edition is packed with exclusive insights and actionable strategies to help you grow your affiliate business like never before. Learn what affiliates must do to level up their SEO and traffic driving strategies with expert guidance designed to make an impact. Explore timely discussions and interviews around compliance, sustainability, and other emerging marketing trends reshaping the affiliate landscape today. Each issue of this magazine is a toolkit for affiliate program managers' success, offering leadership interviews, tactical advice, game-changing strategies, and more. Don't wait to take charge of your affiliate marketing strategy. Get your digital or print version of the Affiverse magazine today and start planning out your next 90 days for success. Visit affiversemedia.com and click on the magazine button to discover more. Take the next step towards leveraging your affiliate marketing potential now and help your affiliate program growth with our excellent 90-day affiliate planner.